Hello students, welcome back. My name is Neeraj Paretha and this is your physics class. In previous class we discussed the Newton's law of motion. In last lecture means that is a lecture number 4 according to a Newton's law of motion. We complete that chapter. Now from today's we move a new chapter. The name of that chapter that is a gravitation. Most of the students know about that term. What do you mean by the gravitation? Gravitation is related to the force applied by a earth on each and every object. Okay, so we start the today's lecture with some following topics. First topic we discuss what do you mean by the introduction and how we discuss the gravitation. Okay, second things is Newton's law of gravitation. Means Newton's gives us some important points related to a gravitation. So after that we discuss about the Newton's law of gravitation, and after that we discuss the important characteristics of a gravitational force. Means gravitation is a force, students. So first we start the introduction. If we talk about the millions later and the Danish astronomer, that is the name of the astronomer, okay, Tycho Brahe, and at the time of 1546 and 1601 conduct a detailed study of a planetary motion. Means in 8th standard we discuss about the planets. So that scientists discuss the some study related to some planetary motion. Why the planet motion and moving around some other bodies. So he gives the some important points, which was interpreted by his pupil Johannes Kepler. That is the name of the scientist also, and the surname that is a Kepler. On the basis of that name we give the some Kepler's law. At the last of that lecture, means that chapter, we discuss the Kepler's law also at the time of 1571 to 1630, mid time of that. Okay, ironically, after the master himself, after a MTech and the master degree of himself has passed away, Kepler's formulate his important finding in a 3 laws of a planetary motion. So after the passed away of that scientist, the Kepler's formulate the Kepler's law. So we are discuss only a 3 laws of a Kepler's. So all are the based on a planetary motions. So we start our lectures with the topic that is a Newton's law of motion. What do you mean by the Newton's law of motion, and what do you mean by that gravitational force also? The Newton's law of motion and Newton's law of gravitation both are at different terms. Newton's give us some important points of a gravitation. By using a Newton's law of gravitation, we can calculate and we can find the magnitude. It is a force, guys. Gravitational is a force applied by the earth. The magnitude and the direction of a gravitational force. The magnitude and the direction of a gravitational force between two particles, is given by the universal law of gravitation. Newton says the magnitude and direction of a gravitational force between two particles is given by a universal law of gravitation. So what is the universal law of gravitation? So we discuss the what do you mean by the universal law of gravitation, which was formulated by a Newton, which are given by a Newton. So next one is a universal law of gravitation. So according to a universal law of gravitation, that force means the applied force due to a earth, that is called a gravitational force, is having some different points. The force of attraction means gravitational force having a nature of a attraction between any particles is directly proportional. Means the force applied between two particles is directly proportional to the masses of the particle and product of that masses, not a masses and product of the masses of the particle. First point. Second point, that force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Means there are two particles. Let's suppose these, that is the first position, that is the second position. Both particles maintain some distance, that is a r. So according to a second point, the square of that distance. So square means that is a square. Inversely proportional means 1 upon r square. Okay, that is the mean of that line. So we discussed that mathematical expression of that force. Okay, so what do you mean by the mathematical expression? We break that law into a 2 points. First point says the force is directly proportional to the product of the masses. So you can write force is directly proportional to the mass m1 and m2. We are assuming two bodies. That is the first one is a m1 and second one is a m2 at a distance from center to center of that bodies, that is a small r. So first point is says the force is directly proportional to the product of their masses, and second point says inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So F is m1 and m2 and F is directly inversely proportional to a r square. Okay, so by using that two equations you can write force is directly proportional to a m1 m2 and upon r square. Whenever we remove that proportionality sign, so what happening guys, when we remove that proportionality sign, so you can write F is equals to m1 m2 upon a r square. If you remove that proportion, a proportionality constant is coming, so that is a m1 m2 upon r square, where g is the universal gravitational constant, where g is the universal gravitational constant. Okay students, g is the universal constant. So what do you mean by the universal constant? Universal constant means the value of that g cannot be changed in complete universe. It having only a one value for a complete universe. That do you mean by the universal gravitational constant. When we use that expression, so equation will be become, so F is equals to g m1 m2 upon r square. So that is a formula for a gravitational force for two particles. First one is a m1 and second one is a m2. F is equals to g m1 m2 upon r square. So how you can decide the value of the gravitational constant, and what do you mean by the expression of a gravitational constant? So by using that expression we can find the value of a gravitational constant. And what do you mean by the capital G? What is the expression and what is the physical significance of that capital G? So to prove and to find that value, we use the mass m1 and mass m2 both are equal, and we consider that is a 1 kilogram. Okay, and we are putting a value of r is equals to 1 meter. So when that is the expression, F is equals to g m1 m2 upon r square. When we are putting a value of m1 and m2 is equals to 1 kilogram, so g, that is a 1, that is also a 1, and r square, that is also a 1 square, that is equivalent to F. So in that case F is equal to g. We are getting the gravitational constant capital G, it is equivalent to a force applied by that bodies. If that body is having a mass that is a 1 kilogram and maintain a distance that is a 1 meter, in that case if body is applying some force, that is equivalent to a gravitational constant capital G. That is a force. Capital G is also a force applied by two bodies which are having a mass 1 kilogram and distance is a 1 meter. So F is equal to a capital G. Hence universal gravitational constant may be defined as the force of attraction between two bodies of a unit masses separated by a unit distance, that due physical significance, and you can find the value of G also. First we can calculate the value of G, and after that we discuss the gravitational constant G. So F is equivalent to a G m1 m2 upon r square. If you want to calculate the unit of G, that we cross multiply that complete expression, then G is equal to a F into a r square upon m1 into a m2. For a SI system, G is equals to force will be calculated in a Newton, distance will be calculated in a meter square, mass will be calculated in the form of kilogram and also a kilogram. So which unit is come? So Newton into a meter square upon a kilogram whole square. That is a SI unit of a capital G, universal constant capital G. Similarly, if you want to calculate the G in the form of a CGS unit, so CGS unit G is equivalent to Newton is replaced by a Dian and meter replaced by a centimeter, that is a whole square, kilogram replaced by a gram multiplied by gram, that is a unit of a universal constant capital G in the form of a CGS system. So Dian into a centimeter square upon a gram whole square, that is a SI system, that is a CGS system. So these are the units of a universal constant G. These are the units of a G. After that we want to calculate and we are having some values. So what is the relation between? So find the relation between a SI unit and a CGS unit of a gravitational constant. So students, you know that if you length, we are using a length. So in a SI unit, length is equal to 1 meter, that is equivalent to in a CGS, that is a 100 centimeter. And we are having a value of 1 Newton, that is equivalent to a 10 to the power 5 Dian. And one more thing, that is a 1 kilogram. So 1 kilogram is equivalent to a 1000 gram. Only these quantities are used when we convert the and we form a relation between a SI system and a CGS system of a universal constant. So students, first of all, what is the value of a capital G? So value of a capital G is, in that case, G is equivalent to a 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11, that is a Newton into a meter square upon a kilogram square, that is a SI unit of a G, that is a SI unit of a capital G. Now find the value of a CGS system, it having a same value or you can say it is different. So this dear student, that is having a some different power of a 10th. Why it is having a different power of a 10th? So first of all we derive that expression. So in a SI system, 1 Newton into a meter square upon a kilogram square. Okay, so you can write 1 Newton is equivalent to a 10 to the power 5 Dian. Correct. Multiply by 1 meter is equivalent to a 100 centimeter and it is a square. Kilogram, so you can write 1000 into a gram and that is a square. So equivalent to, so 10 to the power 5, that is a Dian, multiply by 10 to the power 2 and its square, that is it becomes a 10 to the power 4 and centimeter a square. 10 to the power 3 gram whole square. So 10 to the power 3 becomes a 10 to the power 6 and that is a gram square. So numerator having a total values 10 to the power 9, denominator having a total values that is a 10 to the power 6. So it becomes a dian into a centimeter square and divided by a gram whole square. So that is complete unit, that is its unit of a gravitational constant, that is a CGS unit. So but CGS unit, when we convert the SI unit into a CGS unit, that time it's having a some data more. One that data is having a some power, that is a 10 to the power 3 in a positive dian multiply by centimeter square and divided by a gram whole square. That is a relation between a SI and a CGS system. Means in the form of a gravitational constant, that is a universal constant, whenever you convert the SI unit into a CGS unit, that time you are having a power 10 to the power 3 in a multiply. So when that is the value of a G in a SI system, so what is the value of a CGS system in a CGS system? So that is a 6.67 into a 10 to the power minus 11. So Newton into a, that is a Newton into meter square into a divided by kilogram square. When we convert into a CGS system, so 10 to the power 3 is also coming. So we are multiplying by 10 to the power 3. So dian into a centimeter square and upon a gram whole square. Okay. So it having a value of a 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 8. That is the changes, guys. In SI system, we are having a value of a 10 to the power minus 11. In a CGS system, we are having a value of 10 to the power minus 8. That is a conversion between a SI into a CGS, centimeter per gram whole square. Okay, student. So that is a universal constant, capital G. Now we discuss the some important characteristics of a gravitational constant and gravitational force. So what is the formula of a gravitational force? F is equals to G m1 m2 upon a r square. First point is the gravitational force between two bodies. If there is a two bodies are available here, first one is that and second one is that. If both are maintain some distance also. Two bodies form a action and reaction pair, that is the force are equal in magnitude but opposite in a direction. So according to our expression, let's suppose that is a m1 and that is m2. Okay, and distance maintained by these bodies is a small r. So now calculate the force of that body. So that is a G m1 m2 upon a r square, that is attraction force. So m1 attract the m2 in that direction and m2 also attract the m1 in that direction. So what is the amount of that force? The amount of that force, that is a magnitude, is having a same values. If m1 attract the m2 with a 5 Newton, so m2 also attract the m1 with the force of a 5 Newton. But the magnitude is the same but opposite in a direction. Means that force is due to a m2 attract the m1 in that direction, that is the right hand side, and you can say that is a positive. If m1 attract the m2 in a left hand direction, that is also having a value of a 5 Newton but opposite in a direction. That is a first point. Means that form a action and reaction pair, and that action and reaction pair having a same magnitude, both bodies having a same amount of a gravitational force but opposite in a direction. That is a first point, and that is the characteristics of a gravitational force. Second point of a gravitational force, that is a gravitational force is a central force, that is it acts along the line joining the centers of a two interacting bodies. Means if these two bodies are joining together, so we join that point center to center. So what is the direction of a force? So some student says in that direction. In that direction, no guys, that is not a correct. So these bodies, let's suppose these two bodies, and these two bodies having a, every body is having a some center, and that center to center, that is a, that points having a direction of a gravitational force, means it acts along the line joining the centers of the two interacting bodies. So now that center and that center, now we draw that line, it's joining together, so that is a direction of a force, that is a gravitational force. Okay, that is a second characteristics of a gravitational force. Okay, now we move to our next point. Gravitational force between a two bodies is independent of the nature of a intervening medium. So let's suppose these two bodies m1 and the second body is that is a m2, both are placed at a some distance small r, but these are placed in a medium, that is a air, the medium between a air. If that block, pick that block and put that blocks, that is a m1 and that is also m2, and distance is the same, distance is also same. Now we put that bodies in a water, so medium is changes. In that case the medium is a air, in that case medium is a water, and you can place in a different medium also, but that medium cannot be affect the gravitational force. In that case, what is the amount of gravitational? G m1 m2 upon a r square. There is a no change. In that case force is also same, G m1 m2 upon r square, both the case having a same amount of a gravitational force, means the medium doesn't affect the amount of a gravitational forces. Okay, now next one is a gravitational force between two bodies. Gravitational force between two bodies does not depends upon the presence of other bodies. Let's suppose first body m1 and second body is a m2, and that maintain a distance small r. So what is the amount of gravitational force between them? So F is equals to a G m1 m2 upon r square. Let's suppose one more body is placed here, that is a m3. So students, the force between m1 and m2 doesn't affect. The force between m1 and m2, and you can say the force on m1 due to a m2, and you can say the force on m2 due to a m1, both are having a same value, means the third body which are present and which are present at that point and nearby that point, it doesn't affect the force between two bodies. The force between two bodies means the gravitational force is not changes if there is some other bodies is present in nearby the surface and nearby the system. Okay, it doesn't affect. Okay, so that is a next point. Now we move. Gravitational force is negligible in cases of a light bodies. So we take an example. Let's suppose m1 that is a 10 kilogram and m2 having a value of 100 kilogram. Okay, now find the gravitational force if the distance between them that is a 1 meter. So G m1 m2 upon r square, put that values. So 6.67 into a 10 to the power minus 11, m1 is equals to 10, m2 is equals to 100, r is equals to 1 whole square. So 10 to the power 3 and 10 to the power minus 11. So we get the force is equals to 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 plus of a 3. So 6.67 into a 10 to the power minus 8 Newton. The amount of that force is a negligible amount of a force, guys. So why it is a very low amount of a force? Because the body having a very less amount of a mass. Means gravitational force is a negligible in cases of a light bodies. Means we are having a very light bodies, but becomes a appreciable means they are having a some appreciable amount in case of a massive bodies, just like a planet, just like some earth surface, just like a sun and other planets. If you are having a some large amount and large massive bodies, that time the gravitational force is not a negligible, it's having a some specified values. Okay, so now we move to a next point. Gravitational force is a long range force. What do you mean by the long range force, guys? Means earth and sun and the distance between a earth is a very high distance. It measures with a very long distance, but the gravitational force between that bodies, so gravitational force is exists. Gravitational force exists between them, means you can say that the gravitational force is a long range force, is not applied for a short range, just like a magnetic field. If that is a magnet and that is a iron, if you make some long distance, so magnet cannot be attract that iron needles. But the gravitational force doesn't having a any short range, it having a very long range forces, so it can be applied at a very long distance also. So gravitational force between a two bodies is effective even if the distance is separation in a very large, means the two bodies having a very large. So example is the gravitational force between the sun and the earth is 10 to the power 22 orders. So in that case the gravitational force is a almost of a 10 to the power 22 Newton. Okay, although the distance between them is a 1.5 into 10 to the power 8 kilometer, that is the distance between a sun and the earth surface. Okay, next point is the gravitational force is always in a attractive in nature, it is not shows the any repulsive, it's always attract the bodies. Means if some bodies and any bodies having a some masses, it's always shows the gravitational force. So what is the main criteria for a gravitational force? If body having a some mass, that time it can apply a gravitational force. Gravitational force is a conservative force. What do you mean by the conservative force? Means the work done by a gravitational force. So work done by a gravitational force is equivalent to 0 for a closed loop. For a, what do you mean by the closed loop? Means you are start from here and moving in that case and coming back to it again and that point. So now calculate, that is a W1 and that work is a W2 and that work is a W2. All work is doing and we are calculate the work done due to a gravitational force. So if you are calculate and add them, so work done 1, 2 and 3 is equivalent to a 0 if that force, the work done by a gravitational force, if that gravitational force having a nature of a conservative force and it is a conservative force, guys, due to that reason for a closed loop the total force is equivalent to total work done is equivalent to a 0. So that is having a nature of a conservative force. Distances are always measured from the center of the bodies. If one body is placed here and another body is placed here, now calculate the distance between them if you want to calculate the gravitational force. So that point and that point also having some distance, that point and that point also having some distance, but in that gravitational force we use only a distance from a center to a center of that body to a center of that other body, that is a distance is used in a gravitational force. Okay students, so these are the some important characteristics of a gravitational force. Okay students, so next point is a Newton's law of motion and a gravitation. So dear student, if we talk about the third law, so what do you mean by the third law? Third law says if there is a two bodies, and if that applies some force, that is a action, and if it apply a after a some reaction force. Okay, that is a Newton's third law of motion. And similarly we says the gravitational force also having a some pair, that is a action and reaction pair. So that means, what do you mean by that? If one body applied a some amount of force on a second body, that means second body also applied a same amount of force on a first body. That is a mean of that Newton's third law of motion, at means action and reaction pair. And our gravitational force having a some pair of a action and reaction pair. Let's suppose we are having a some stone, and one stone, okay, that having a mass of a 1 kilogram maximum, okay, and it drop and from the above the surface of the earth, means that is the surface of earth we are living here. Whenever we drop any stone here, so its mass is a 1 kilogram, and that is the mass of a capital M is represent the mass of a earth, and 1 kilogram, that is the mass of any body, so we represent that is a by a small m. So what is the gravitational force between them? So in that body is having a gravitational force, that is a G. Capital M is the mass of the earth, small m, that is a mass of our bodies. And if you assuming that distance, that is a radius of a earth, and that is having a 1 meter, 2 meter, 5 meter, so approx we use that is a radius r square. So that amount of force is applied by the both the bodies. But whenever we release any stone, that time you feel that the stone will be dropped in downward motion and it accelerated. Whenever we are release a stone and any bodies on the some height of the surface, that it moving towards the surface. Okay, why it is moving? And if it is moving toward the earth surface, so it is accelerated, it is moving with a some acceleration. So why it is having a some acceleration? Because both are having a some force. So if their body having a some force, that is accelerated, it is a done. Okay, but dear students, that both bodies having a same amount of force, but we are seeing that only a stone is moving in that direction and having a some acceleration a, and getting a some acceleration a. Why the surface and body of that is the second body, that is a capital M, it not feel coming towards the stone, only stone moving towards the earth. Earth cannot be moved toward the earth and toward the stone. Why it's happening? The reason behind that, you know that according to a Newton's second law of motion, Newton's second law of motion. What do you explanation and what is the expression of a Newton's second law of motion? According to a Newton's second law of motion, that force is equivalent to a mass of the body and acceleration of that bodies. So one by one we calculate the acceleration of the stone and acceleration of the mass, that is a mass of the earth. One more thing is that according to that expression, A is equivalent to a F upon M. So now read that expression and understand what do you mean by that expression. That expression want to explain that thing, force is same on the both the bodies, so we are assuming the force is a constant. So acceleration is inversely proportional to the mass of the bodies. Means if the body having a heavy mass, that acceleration is a very low. If body having a low amount of mass, that is a less amount of mass, that body having a more acceleration. So you can judge that your answer, why the stone is accelerated very fast and why you are not able to see that acceleration of a earth surface, because that acceleration is a very negligible acceleration of a surface of a earth and that body of a earth. Means heavy body having a very low acceleration and the high bodies means that is a massive bodies having a very low acceleration. So acceleration is inversely proportional to the mass of the body. So which body having a high amount of acceleration? A stone having a high amount of acceleration, and you can calculate the acceleration. If you want to calculate the acceleration of a stone, that time F upon mass is divided by a. So if you want to calculate the acceleration of a small body, that we divide the mass of a small body. So what expression is coming? That is a F is equals to G capital M small m upon divided by r square and also divided by small m. So that is cancel out. So acceleration of a stone, that is a small body, and that is gm upon a r square. That is the acceleration of a body due to a gravitation. G is a 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11. M is a very high amount of mass, and r is the radius of earth, that is already very high. Whenever you are calculate that time you can find and you can get a value of a acceleration due to a gravitational force. If you want to calculate the acceleration of a mass of the earth, so G capital M small m upon r square and divided by capital M. So m and m is a cancel out. So which amount is coming? G small m upon r square. Okay, so that is a very negative acceleration, that is a very minimum amount of acceleration is coming. G is a minus of 11, that is a value of 1 gram and 1 kilogram, 2 kilogram, 100 kilogram. So almost that is very low acceleration is coming, guys. So that is the reason behind that. So we are not feel and we are not able to see the earth is moving towards the stone, because the acceleration of that body is very low. That is the reason behind that why the stone is moving towards the earth's surface due to a very high acceleration. And in next step we can calculate the what is the acceleration due to a mass of a body, that is a earth mass. We discussed some numerical problem on the basis of a previous sum formulas. So first question is, two bodies capital A and the capital B having a mass m and 2m. Means we are having a two bodies. First one is a body and second one is a B body. So according to that problem, the mass of a first body, that is A, that is mass is given, that is a m kilogram. And according to that problem, the mass of a second body, that is a 2m, that is 2m kilogram. Okay, now respectively are kept at a distance of a d apart, means these two particles and maintain a distance of a small d. So let's suppose that is a first and that is second body, and that bodies maintain a distance, that is a small d. Okay, now so where should a small particle is placed? Where should a small particle is placed so that the net gravitational force on it due to the bodies A and B is 0. Means find the position between the line joining to the center of that bodies. Find the position where we placed other particle according to that problem. Where should a small particle, we assume that small particle is small m. Okay, we are assuming that small particle is small m, placed in the at the line joining m, and that position maintain a distance x from a first body, that is a small m. Okay, so we assume that is a m dash, because we are having a some one symbol, that is a m, and that body having a mass of 2m. So what is the distance from that to that point? That is a d minus of x. So according to that problem, find that position where if we place a mass m dash, the force experienced by A and the force experienced by B is equivalent to 0, and it is a balance to each other. Force on it due to the bodies of A and B is 0. So if that mass m, capital small m, applied as some force on a m1, so which type of force is applied? That is attraction in nature. So force applied due to a body on a m dash. Okay, so formula is G, mass of a first body, that is a small m, mass of the second body, that is a m dash, and distance between them, that is a x square. So that is a force applied by a body A on a m dash, that is a particle. Similarly, we calculate the force due to a B on that m dash is equivalent to a formula is G, mass of the other body, that is a 2m, mass of the second body, that is a m dash, and distance between them, that is a d minus x. Distance between them, that is a d minus x whole square. So that question says, if you want to calculate the force applied due to a body A and due to a body B on that particle is equivalent to 0, means what happening in this case, that body attract in that direction. So the direction of AM dash is a left hand side. That body applied the force on M dash in that direction, means that body applied on that body force in a right hand direction. If that force is 0, so both are the force applied by A and force applied by a B on that particle is equivalent to a both having a same value. So to find that values, the force on A due to a M dash, force due to a B on M dash, both are having a same values. So put that values. So G small m, M dash and upon divided by x square. Similarly, G value of the mass 2m, that is a M dash, and divided by t minus x whole square. So which quantities will be cancelled out? Now G will be cancelled out, G will be cancelled out, M will be cancelled out, M also cancel out, M dash also cancel out, M dash also cancel out. So how many quantities are remaining? So the quantities is 1 upon x square from a left hand side is equivalent to a 2 upon d minus x whole square from a right hand side. So if you want, what were our requirement? Our requirement now calculate the value of a x. So x square is equal to d minus of x whole square and divided by 2. Both quantities having some square values, so we can apply some roots formulas. So x is equivalent to a plus minus d minus x and divided by 2. Okay, first case when we use the positive sign, so x is equal to a positive of d minus of x divided by 2. So 2x is equivalent to a d minus x. When x will be coming in that direction, so what will become? It is not a 2, it is a root 2. Okay, it is a root 2. Okay, so that is coming to is that becomes a positive. So x plus root 2x is equal to a d. X becomes a common, so 1 plus root 2 is equivalent to a d. So x is equivalent to a d upon 1 minus root 2. That is a one value. Similarly, if you want to calculate the second values also, so we use the negative sign. Okay, so with negative sign, x is equivalent to a minus of a d minus x and divided by root 2. Okay, now root 2x is equal to minus of d plus of x. That positive sign becomes a negative when change the directions. So root 2x minus of x is equivalent to minus of d. X is common, so root 2 minus 1 is equivalent to a minus of d. X is equivalent to a d upon minus of d upon root 2 minus 1. So students, if you want to calculate, so which value is having some accurate values? So negative sign is not used here. What do you mean by the negative? X is coming only for a positive, so that answer is a correct. So x is equals to d divided by 1 minus root 2. 1 minus root 2, that is a correct answer of that problems. Okay students, now done. Have a nice day students, and thank you so much.